Hello and welcome back to Mzansi. We're back. It is that time of the night where we have to talk about what happened the day before yesterday, right? Is it correct? Yes. Yeah, Izolo, we couldn't before too. It was out of our control. City internet is saying is not make sure. So we decided we would know. Hayi phela vele akufanga muntu because there is no case today. Let us deliver today.
Yeah.
Right. So sixolisa kakhulu again for that. Apology. It was out of our control. You know, we are always ready, but sometimes things just are out of our control.
Yes.
There's nothing we can do. And just a warning in advance. So it happened that I was fighting with the mother of my baby. So I'm babysitting. In case you hear some noise that are unpleasant. So the kid is sleeping in the studio, which is unprofessional. But there's nothing I can do before to. I have to push for you, right?
Right.
So I hope you forgive me in advance in case you hear some noises that are unpleasant. It's not what do you call it? It's not that YouTube that SABC issue that they had. No, it's me. It's me. Yeah, it's me. So afethu ayiqhube inqola siye phambili. I see we have 22. I'm trying to find the chats. I'm not seeing them. I'm not seeing them. The chats. Is there anyone who has started chatting or something like that? It happens.
What do you mean you can't see the chat?
Oh yeah. So, there you go. Got them.
Okay.
Got them. Yeah. So yeah, Emily, take us through what happened.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Mzansi Reality YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us here again for another video, another deliberation of court proceedings. Yes, yesterday or the day before yesterday, there were arguments that took the whole day just for accused number 3 to go and get tested, or for the dentists or the dental specialists to go and see whether he's had a gold tooth in the past or not. To have those tests done, it took the whole day. All of this just for accused number 3, to get a dentist to go check on him. Is it material evidence for the state?
It is not for the states only. It's for everyone, as the minister was arguing, that it will help everyone. And what I think, even though the judge accepted, and which I expected, right? I did say that because of pressure.
Did tell me tell us.
I foresee the judge agreeing with him this, even though he was casting doubts. By saying this never had that, and he kept on hammering that. I saw that he also noticed that. So what I was not happy with, I think they should have said it several times, they should have emphasized on it, is that Pela Lendo ye gold tooth is moving from person to person.
Yeah.
Yeah. It must be clear that it started with Ndanzi.
Yes,
and it moved to accuse. So now when they are saying it like it's something that they were about it just happened. No, it didn't happen to accuse number 3 because it was busy with Ndanzi.
Yes.
So now realizing that it's not Ndanzi, now we want accuse number 2. That thing they need to say it.
They need to put it and emphasize on it, because the people or some of the witnesses that have testified about a gold tooth, and it's in the statements, they've not done it in court. The description was that the person with the gold tooth was tall and dark, okay? And now we have moved to it being allegedly MNCUBE.
They are changing it in court. They are investigating in court.
They should emphasize.
They should put that on record.
Because it's important that this gold tooth keeps moving.
People are being investigated in court. You know,
after 4 years.
The witnesses are saying it's a person who was dark, and they according to them, according to the theory of the states, Ntanzi and accused number 3 got in the house, right?
Yes.
So there's one person who's dark out of those people.
That is why the complexion of accused number 3 at some point was described as darkish by some of the witnesses who were testifying on the stand that were in the house when the incident happened. So Advocate Nisi was expected to bring that application to have the alleged gunman, with emphasis alleged, Mthobisi MNCUBE, taken for dental examination. He wanted to use the report that he would obtain from the dentist to rebut the state's evidence that MNCUBE had a gold tooth. Well, not necessarily to rebut, but to test, because this gold tooth has now become the center of attention, as if it's material evidence, as if it's the most important evidence. When the most important evidence, I feel, in my opinion, is placing the accused at the scene. And so far, that evidence is kind of shaky, right?
It is.
So now the state has moved us to focus on a gold tooth. That gold tooth, in my opinion, is immaterial if there's no placement of these people at that scene on that time. And right now, the only thing, in my opinion, that is left, that has placed the accused at the scene, in my opinion, is the very shaky evidence of Zungu.
It didn't also leave them on the scene.
It didn't quite leave them on the scene.
It left them at the hostel. That's where it ends. That's as far as we can take it.
But it placed him in a position where he can say, I saw them.
On the day of the incident.
Yes, I saw them on the day of the incident, to come to a conclusion to say that they may have done something. Do you understand? So for me, in my opinion, that's what's left. And of course, the firearm testing and the ballistics. DNA, no. I know what the state was trying to do, but no, DNA or Naishim. No. They can try and twist it as much as they want, but I voom, in my opinion.
And then we have a ballistic now.
Yeah, and the ballistics.
Now, shaky as hell. The way in which it was sealed, the way in which it was handled, it is found wandering.
Yeah.
Okay. And then on top of that, it's still to be rebut by ballistic yap. And the way it was explained and how things unfolded. Basically, we have nothing solid. Not even the so-called confessions that were voluntary. And we must, and that issue of voluntary confession, it needs to be looked at with glasses. How can a person who is speaking freely lie? How can a person who's saying, I want to confess, lie? The beginning is saying the accused number 1 lied.
Yes.
Those are things that we need to look at. In all honesty. How can they lie? They give you hints.
They give you hints.
So kunezinto la ezingahlangani. Like honestly speaking, yabona this case, it is making our law system worldwide to be undermined. Because in all honesty, the question remains, our lawyer, how did they come to conclusion that this needs to go to court?
I have no idea. I've been asking myself that question ever since all these things unfolded.
And all of a sudden, when there are questions, they become jumpy and defensive and all that in that court. But honestly speaking, without fear, can we really now ask that question? How did you guys arrive to that direction of saying we are prosecuting, yes, go arrest these people. How on earth? Because even the arresting of these people is not even clear. Why how they were arrested? How did you really reach that point? You know, the fact that this judge accepted this test today, which might come back and say negative, or this person has never had a gold. And then what now? Because the person is confident, which shows that it's got nothing to hide. You know, a person who's got something to hide wouldn't say, go test me and all that. This is they say this is someone who's arrested for other crimes. He knows. You know, he knows. If I had a gold tooth, I wouldn't go there and expose myself to the doctor.
Yes. So Mnisi went through the background of this application, and in the introduction he stated that Mr. MNCUBE is approaching this honorable court with a request to allow him to be assessed by a dentist or a similar physician before he can start with cross-examination of new evidence which has been introduced by the state. Now, to amass more information for him to be able to challenge the state's case. At the time, Nisi said that he did not know whether the state was going to oppose the application or not. And I found this to be very interesting because I was also not clear on whether Sibanda said that the state is opposing the application or not, because I remember offers of the state's dentist being made. So it was not quite clear whether it was being opposed by the state or the judge.
They have relied on the states the defense must say it. If they didn't do it, they didn't do it. They must say it. They must put that question. They have relied on that because they wanted this judge basically to give a guilty verdict on the basis of credibility between them and obvious people who are, some of them are serving sentences. Who would you rule against?
Obvious, the ones who are already convicted. In my opinion.
That's how it is.
So, although we can slightly, I could remember that actually the judge, was telling Nisi to make the application. So he was even willing to give him the entire week or month to prepare. But what I don't remember is the state vehemently opposing. Do you understand that part where they are saying, okay, we refuse? What I remember is the judge coming in and saying, Mnisi must make that application. So he highlighted that the state introduced new evidence, and Mnisi said that the state has led more than 60 witnesses, and the trial has run for almost 2 years.
Yes.
And he was actually reminding us and pointing it out that on the 18th of July we'll be hitting 2 years since the Honorable Judge Rata Mkwatleng came out of retirement and decided to assist, because Judge Shipiwa Maumela had not made much progress concerning this case. So Mnisi then said that in the month of April, the prosecution came up with new evidence that they provided to the state and intimated that it intended to supplement its evidence. The evidence that was submitted to the defense by the state comprised of photos which were downloaded from the applicant's cellular phone, which were found in his possession when he got arrested in 2015 in a different case. So the state had been in possession of the above-mentioned information for more than 10 years, which was a great point, I felt, in my opinion, if you actually think about it. I mean, the state has had this information with them for almost 10 years.
Can you believe the argument of saying that we have never seen this, how crazy it is, considering the fact that you had to go through these pictures and choose pictures. It's not like if they come and say, okay, you know what, we had pictures and then we just decided to just take the first top 40 that we could take. We didn't. But they went through these pictures, whether they like it or not. And the funny thing, you see how bad it is actually. They are denying that they went through these things.
Yeah.
They went through this thing. They picked the pictures that were supporting the narrative.
Yes.
Their narrative.
Yes.
Now they want to say that's not what they did. They want to say, no, that's not what we did.
Well, Nisi said that the state, meaning the police, had this information for nearly 10 years, while the prosecutors that are handling this matter in court had this information for almost 6 years. Evidence that has been prepared before court is that they started to prepare this case since 2019. That's the evidence of Brigadier Gininda. And then Advocate Baloyi whispered to Advocate Nisi, that it was not actually 2019 but 2020. Which makes it 5 years. It was 6 or 9. Like, to me, same difference. But at the same time, it's almost like he's extracting himself from, remember, Brigadier Gininda's evidence is that this was a prosecutorially driven investigation. So I'm like, okay, so since Brigadier Gininda has testified that this was a prosecutorial driven investigation, and you are saying as prosecutors we only came in 2020, so who are the prosecutors that were investigating with Brigadier Gininda in this prosecutorially led investigation in 2019, if Advocate Baloyi is honestly going to exclude himself from this? So those photos are depicting the applicants smiling with a sealed braided dreadlock hairstyle and a long-sleeved striped t-shirt. And then what he said, that what is notable is that the state never indicated the purpose that they intend to use this information, or what they intend to use this information for. Nisi said that they were only handed the information, but there was no indication the reason why such information had to be heard. They thought it was for the dreadlocks and skin color, and there was a vehement objection from the defense for the introduction of this evidence. And however, the decision went in favor of the state. So the state proceeded to lead this new evidence. It is only then that it became clear what the purpose of this information was, and that was to prove that the applicant had a gold tooth, presumably when the offenses were allegedly committed, and is linked to the commission of these offenses through his identification with the gold tooth. Now, the defense never even heard the slightest of idea the purpose of this new evidence was to prove these new allegations that at the time it was, in my opinion, an ambush.
It's a good one. It is new allegations because never since we started this case have they actually pointed at accused number 3 as a person of interest when it comes to the gold tooth. Now they are shifting from Danzi. They are shifting from everyone else. You know how many times these people have been allowed to change the complexion of this case, playing around those people who are there. And you tell me that we have, I'm a dunderhead, because honestly speaking, we are a dunderhead if you can still believe with the state's case, they've got a case. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to say it. You are a dunderhead. For you to take a mic and sit down and defend this kind of nonsense that we see there.
It's a lot.
It's garbage. I don't care how you try to sugarcoat it. It's garbage. To such an extent that we are at a point now where people who do not have eyes would not be able to see, would actually, the feeling is that the state is actually trying to push and make sure that defense does not bring their defense. Because there are a lot of things that the defense is hiding. Lot of things. Other than what Michelle promised in terms of the numbers of the number of the owner of that number. How many things have these people actually allegedly lied about? You know, if you look at the things that are there, they've said about Bokwabi and Bozu, you know, it's scary. Now we have a tool. So what if these people come? In my opinion.
Yeah. So the applicant had at no point anticipated that 23 months after the commencement of the trial, or that the trial had started, he would be confronted with entirely new evidence, which would have required him to start the preparation of his defense on this new evidence as if the matter is starting from the beginning. Now, what I also got from this is that this is another point that's quite valid that needed to be raised, because this manner or this point of a gold tooth is not exactly fresh information. When you read the statements of some of the people that were testifying from way back in 2014, I even noted Sibanda mentioning Makaleni's testimony. It does mention the gold tooth, right? So you are presenting it as if it's something that is new, you stumbled upon, and then you sit on it 23 months. Why was it not presented at the pre-trial conference? Why? Why are you going to now want to introduce it now? Because Brigadier Gininda, in his testimony, a lot was going on. I don't understand. So when a person gets confronted 23 months into the trial, Mnisi said, and the state having led more than 60 witnesses, they come up with exclusively new evidence. What does that mean? It simply means that the applicant gets taken to the very first day on which he is supposed to be pleading. He has to start preparing for his defense as if this matter is starting de novo. What is worrisome is that the prosecution offered no compelling reasons why this evidence was not made available to the defense and its purpose in time so that the defense could deal with it timeously. Mnisi said, I would have been expected to cross-examine Mr. Mabasa immediately after he proffered his evidence, but a worrisome factor is that I had no opportunity to take instructions from Mr. MNCUBE, which is another point that he raised that was quite interesting, because when you think about it, the way Advocate Baloyi had wanted to introduce this new evidence via Brigadier Gininda, it would not have given him a chance to consult his client properly. So how could I have been in a position, Mnisi said, there and there to cross-examine Mr. Mabasa with new evidence that we did not even have the slightest idea of what the nature of that new evidence would have been? What would have been grossly unfair to the accused? That would have been grossly unfair. So Mnisi also expressed that at the time, accused number 3 kept raising his hand, and he came up with a number of issues that needed to cross-examine, or that Mr. Mabasa needed to be cross-examined on. It would have been very unfair and unpredictable if cross-examined, or if he had cross-examined Mr. Mabasa on this new evidence, because he then would have been found wanting. And a counsel that is found wanting in cross-examination, he was wondering if that could be said as a fair trial for the accused. Now, this also highlights this point of some people that creep in and want to criticize the shortcomings of the defense. The state, somehow, these people that criticize the defense never criticize the state. They only focus on the defense when they feel like they're flopping or whatever. But imagine allowing such an ambush to happen, and then they would have had a field day.
If you look at how for some negative points that you can take away from the defense, most of the times because they were overcompensating for the states of whatever that they come with. The states only came with one weight. We are still investigating. So anything just comes now. And then the states comes and defend. Look at this issue of a gold now. Now, let's say a doctor says, no, this person has never had a gold. Your word against what is seen on the picture. Which one would you believe? You say, I never had a gold.
Yeah.
And remember, it looks like a small thing. Like, oh, you're just denying you never had a gold. That's it. No, it doesn't look like that. It makes you look guilty. If a picture says, some picture that is zoomed says you had a gold tooth, and you say, no, I didn't have a gold, you are a liar.
Yes. It's like you're
a pathological liar.
You are hanging yourself.
So these are things that the states is doing. And it's circumstantial evidence, if you look at it.
It is circumstantial
so
evidence.
Ugwetshele esakini. You know, just because when you relied on hangizophika, and then the judges or decide the judge because the judge is very smart to uboni picture. It's you against the picture.
Yes.
It's physical evidence that is according to the judge. It's seeing evidence on the picture. You know, someone is made to put it on record. So the only way you can rebuff that, is that you need to go to the doctor.
That's true, and have it tested out and seen through what is actually truth and what is a fact. Did you have a gold tooth or not? So Nisi expressed that would also have meant that he would be representing his client, you know. And Nisi quoted also section 35(3), the right to a fair trial, which included the right to have adequate time and facilities to prepare for his defense. The court made mention of the fact that it is not aware of a provision in the Criminal Procedure Act that deals with the application that he said he would put before court after his application was turned down. Now, Act number 51 of 1977, it is indeed so that there is no provision in law that says cross-examination of a witness who has already testified can be paused to allow the accused to prepare his case and evidence to cross-examine that particular witness. So he said he looked and he couldn't find a provision of that in the Criminal Procedure Act. He also quoted Section 167 and 186 of the Criminal Procedure Act that deals with the justness of the decision of the court in respect of the case. Just decision is based on the ethos of the Constitution. It is one that is arrived at on the principle of rule of law. It is fair, and all these factors are embodiments of a fair trial. Now, this here was directed, in my opinion, to the judge to make a just decision, and not these rulings that he's been making in the past, in my own opinion, where I just felt like, okay, this doesn't make sense as to why you ruled this, but we will go along. But he was just sending a message by quoting the particular sections in the Criminal Procedure Act to just provide that one would say a reminder to the judge that the decision must be just. Yeah, bon. So Mnisi said he was not requesting something fancy, trivial, or unheard of. He said all we are asking for is time to prepare our defense. He said his client is not asking for the world. He does not want the world in his hands. He does not request for gold or diamonds. All he wants is that he be afforded the opportunity and facilities to go and prepare for his defense. Denying him this opportunity would be violating Section 9 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, 1996, dealing with equality. And I quote, everyone is equal before the law and has a right to equal protection and the benefit of the law, end quote. So Mnisi then said, I could not find a clause that says that everyone is equal before the law, but some are more equal than others. Animal farm. He said he couldn't find that in the Constitution. So Mnisi said that Ntanzi had an opportunity to deal with his evidence when he was taken to Dr. Tlokwe, who came to testify that he had never had a gold tooth. He asked that Mr. MNCUBE be granted the same opportunity. So also, can you imagine what the state wanting to do what they want to do, and then tomorrow turns out the tests come back and say he's never had a gold tooth. So that completely puts a stop to all of this madness of dragging with the gold tooth, in my opinion. But then why must we be subjected to it if there's an easier way of getting to the truth faster? Why must we take the states saying he had a gold tooth, zoomed in pictures, he had a gold tooth? The defense must now defend and deny that he's had a gold tooth. But there's a faster way.
Evidence. But now there must just be a word of mouth. I never had a gold tooth. Put it to him.
I think your mic is off.
It's all about put it to him, put it to him, put it to him.
Yes.
There's no, but they have what they can call physical evidence, papers and everything, pictures. They just want you to say, I never had that.
I just want you to say, I never had that, you deny it, and then it gets dragged. Then when the defense comes along and they say a doctor's report is saying, that's what actually they were recommending, which in my opinion is a further waste of time. It's a further waste of time when it can just be debunked right now, or it can be accepted right now that he had a gold tooth, if that's the case. Mnisi quoted a case from 2005, State versus Japai, where this judge quoted an international law because the judge had previously expressed that they could use some of the international laws that they could find. Now, the judge asked if it was not Ackerman, and Mnisi quoted that international law, and it's from a judge called Van der Westhuizen, and it was about equality. And he further argued that to have adequate time and facilities for the preparation of his defense and to communicate with counsel of his own choice. He said it is our submission that the making available of this information at this hour of reckoning simply constitutes a justice delayed, which is a justice denied. The state cannot simply come back and say if the accused person could be entitled to a further postponement or post-procurement, or be afforded the opportunity to go and prepare his defense to come and cross-examine Warrant Officer Mabaso, that it is going to delay the state. That will be a sin for the state to do that. That will be unheard of. That will be a gross irregularity of submission, because this is a bed of roses made by them. And yeah, he killed me, absolutely killed me, when he said, I've got no reason not to say that it's a bed that they made themselves, and they've got to lie in it.
Yeah,
that was shade there, professional. That was professional reading. Universal Declaration of Human Rights, further arguing the fairness. Fairness must not only be furnished at the instance of the accused person, but it must also be furnished at the instance of those affected by crime in the society. He said that fairness is about the accused person as well. Now, Mnisi also quoted an article that had mentioned Zuma's case, not the former state president, no, a different Zuma, which was also spoken about on the right to a fair trial. He further said that the court hinted that they were not aware of a section that deals with this procedure. He also quoted another case, his Tsukuda case. He said it cannot be assumed that a fair trial can only be achieved by one system of a criminal procedure that may be more than one way of securing the various elements necessary for a fair trial, and provided that the legislature devises a system which effectively secures such rights. It cannot be faulted mainly because it settles for a system which departs from past procedures.
A very interesting argument that Mnisi made, that I find very interesting, to say that criminal law, I think law at large, is that it must continue to develop. So you must not be just saying, I decline, because you are afraid of actually going and doing your homework and create something that has never been heard of. Because the purpose of this law is not to say it's complete. It is hardly complete.
Yes.
It needs to be developed by the same people that work it.
Yes.
So to say that, I don't know how many times the judge has said, I've never had that.
There's always a first time for everything.
You know,
the question is,
the argument of this is
navigate
actually
that?
saying that there's always a first time for everything, as long as there's no prejudice on either parties.
Yes.
That then allow you to actually create something new.
True. I absolutely agree with that. It's an opportunity. Otherwise, we wouldn't have you guys referencing case laws. I mean, case laws, something new happens in the courts all the time, that adjustments have to be made. You understand? So you take it as an opportunity. I thought a judge was supposed to be excited when something new happens, and then they have to gather the information that they can on how to navigate such, and then come up with a just decision as to how they can move forward.
Let's press the like button, guys. Please, I request the like buttons. 300 people, only 118 likes. That's a mismatch. Let's press the like button.
So Mnisi then said, even if the CPA, Criminal Procedure Act, does not make a provision for a specific procedure on how circumstances such as this one should be dealt with, the courts are called upon. If that would not be a violation of the law, to implement or to see to it that the spirit of the Constitution is implemented or given effect to. He also quoted Section 173 of the Constitution. The Constitutional Court, the Supreme Court of Appeal, and the High Courts of South Africa each have the power to protect and regulate their own processes and to develop the common law, taking into account the interest for justice. So Mnisi then said, does what Mr. MNCUBE requests this court to afford him not a human right? I'm also looking forward to receiving an unfavorable response to this question. The judge asked him about the section that says that South Africa belongs to all those who live in it, and Mnisi said that lawfully it does not promote illegalities and unlawfulness. Judge Ratamkhate. He's always updated on what's happening in the country. I love it.
Exactly why we say this constitution is bullshit. It's bullshit. And they are busy gloating about it, saying that it's the best constitution. So in South Africa, basically, they are even proud to quote it. In South Africa, basically, you are a South African based on the paper. Other countries, that's not how it is, man.
No.
It's only this country, a banana country, where you are a South African on the basis of a paper.
All those who live in it. It doesn't even say a paper. It says as long as you are here, as long as
lawful,
you set your
lawful
foot
is
here.
part of the paper then. If you come and say Islam and then you later on you apply for citizenship, it's okay.
And then they are shocked at all of the chaos that is happening. Then they become surprised.
Let's try it, serious.
Well, Mnisi then say, how does the accused defend himself when he has not been granted an opportunity to prepare? Even if there's no provision in the Criminal Procedure Act, the courts are called upon to give life to the Constitution. The drafters of the Constitution were well aware that there will arise situations that are not provided for. Mnisi said that he had not even taken proper instructions from Mr. MNCUBE with regard to the cross-examination that he needed to have. If the Constitution was a human being, if the Constitution was a natural person as opposed to a juristic person, this is what the Constitution would have said. Dear Honorable Court, please do not be deterred or dissuaded from giving effect to the spirit of the provision of the Constitution for a want of a specific procedure about the Criminal Procedure Act. The Constitution has empowered you in terms of Section 173 to protect and regulate your own processes if that is in the interest of administration of justice. That marked the close of Mnisi's submission for accused number 3. So after the short adjournment, court resumed with Sipho Ramasipili stating that he will argue in support of the application. He said that he would only supplement his with heads where Mnisi had not ventilated the issues. Ramasipili said that Mr. Mnisi has disputed that Mr. MNCUBE ever had a gold tooth, including on the day of the incident, and he highlighted the court's question last week about whether the request by Mnisi is procedure. Ramasipili, his response to this was that they submit that Mr. MNCUBE under the Constitution does have the right to independent medical examination, an examination by the district surgeon to determine the issue that he had, a distinguishing feature or particular appearance with a golden tooth in order to ventilate his defense. He said also that they submit that the aim of recalling Sergeant Mabasa was to introduce photographs depicting accused number 3 with a gold insertion. And they've already stated that some of the witnesses in the house have also said that one of the intruders in the house, they've also said that they've had a gold tooth or these particular features. And he also said that they submit that the evidence is relevant. The court must consider the value of the evidence, its reliability, and whether it can be able to meet the problem facing the accused. The submission is that Mr. Mapisa will be examined. Okay, I think he meant Mr. MNCUBE will be examined by a district surgeon who will provide their report. And the report will arrive at the doors of the court via the register. Then it will be availed to Mr. MNCUBE via his lawyer. There is no issue that Mr. MNCUBE can go temper or modify that report. And he said that they're not even sure whether that report will support or rebut the state's version that he had a golden tooth. Ramasepele stated that the Krecha case, the trial within a trial, and Ramasepele also said that the Constitution guarantees the right to a fair trial, even in criminal proceedings. Then he was done. Ngumalo argued also, which came as a surprise to me, but I'm kind of glad that he did. I feel like this is a muscle that he needs to exercise at every opportunity that he gets. He can always improve. There's room for improvement when it comes to arguing. Malo also argued for the right to a fair trial, and he apologized also because earlier on, I forgot to mention, Nisi had apologized for handing his arguments on the day in the morning, and Malo also apologized for doing this similar thing. It wasn't of their own doing. I feel like it's too short notice in my opinion, but they are doing the best that they can. And the state, of course, didn't have a problem with Mnisi after he apologized for that late submission. Apparently, it's a court thing. It's a law that when you've drafted your heads of arguments and the cases that you are going to use and the laws that you're going to use, you must hand them like in advance.
Why?
To give the whoever is arguing the time to prepare using what you are arguing so that they can counter argue. Apparently it's a thing.
Why?
I didn't know. It's a rule. It's a procedure of the courts.
No, I know it's there. I know, but I don't understand why I should give you an upper hand.
Okay. And Nama, I also don't understand it because both of you have done law, right? If you are going to argue,
what you are going to argue about.
Yeah, I need to know the laws you're going to use.
Yes, I have stood up and I said, this is what I'm going to apply for.
Yeah.
So already, you need to go and do your homework.
Yes, I must be able to tell that if you are arguing for this, I must first find the laws you're going to use to argue what you want to argue, and then I go and look for laws that can counter-argue what I think you're going to argue. That makes your approach so much stronger.
Was the thinking of fairness? Was that?
Yeah, I think it was of fairness.
Is that fair though?
I think when the thing was maybe the state is the one who always filed applications and maybe the defense needed more time for the accused fair trial. So maybe it's for accommodating when the roles are opposite.
So we must start then. We must start when we teach our kids how to have debates. They must do that. They must send each other's.
The first one must, who's for whatever is being discussed, must hand their preparation over to the.
I understand the state has to reveal everything that they've done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It should end there.
Okay.
They shouldn't try, in my opinion.
In forms of evidence.
Yeah, in terms of obvious. You need to know why you are.
And it ends there.
It should end there.
This thing of arguments.
The arguments, it's
like you're giving them a memo.
A notch.
You're giving them a memo.
It's like I'm giving you a memo to come and murder me.
I found it strange, but I had to look it up, and apparently it is a thing.
It's there. I've seen them doing it all the time.
So now Ngumalo brought up the actual argument that I thought that the state would be using, that the state vehemently objected to this application on the basis that the state the application that was made was unwarranted, as the accused will be afforded an opportunity in his defense to challenge this evidence. So he shared the background of this application in his introduction. He also mentioned the right to a fair trial, and he said, I submit that the postponement of the cross-examination will not cause any prejudice to the accused because all the accused support the application on behalf of accused number 3. He said that he further submits that there will be no prejudice to the state if such a postponement is granted because in any event we are still busy dealing with the state's case. So he said that the court has a discretion to manage the trial and determine whether to grant or refuse the postponement or allow the defense to revisit the witness's cross-examination at a later stage. However, there are situations where a party may need a postponement to properly prepare for cross-examination, such as when new evidence emerges or when further investigation is required. Ngumalo said that the reason why the examination is required in this regard is crucial that MNCUBE be taken to the dentist, as he denies that he ever had a gold tooth. The examination is necessary to strengthen his case, thereby weakening and destroying the state's case. He looked at 2 cases dealing with postponements. The judge said that he knew one of the cases, and he had to summarize to say that it was about a guy who was in cahoots with some of the employees of a supermarket to rob the supermarket. He also argued prejudice, and Ngumalo said that the potential prejudice to either party must be weighed carefully. The court will be cautious in denying a postponement if it won't cause prejudice to a party seeking a postponement, particularly where the reason for the postponements are legitimate and justified. And if granting the postponement, it will unfairly be disadvantageous, then rather that the party, the court may refuse the request. So one looks at the reason Nisi is requesting a postponement, and he said that they are legitimate and justified. He has indicated that the state had this information for a period of 10 years and the prosecution for a period of 5 years. It would be unfair for certain individuals in the criminal justice system to have this information for such a period, to expect the accused, when this evidence is presented on the 12th of June 2025, then to begin and commence with this cross-examination. Now, on the issue of taking him to the dentist, he submitted that the application for the postponement that accused number 3 be taken to a dentist is legitimate and granted. Then Ngumalo was done. Mshololo said that she had no further submissions to add, and she said that she abided by the submissions made by the defense. There's nothing much, honestly, that Mshololo could have said. I feel like all of them hammered on it, and the most important points, everything she could have said would have probably been a repetition. Now, what took me by surprise was Dr. Sibanda's comments. I'm sorry, guys.
What's up?
I am so sorry. I was so lost, and I don't know, but let's go through his argument. Let's just go through it, because I didn't want to leave it out. I took what I could and what I could contextualize so that we discuss it. It took me by surprise, but let's go through it. Sibanda, for some reason, was not audible at the beginning until I saw the comments on the chat. People started to now complain. I said, BC, sound, can't win Zagalat. What's going on? And also what I noticed as well is that throughout the day, up until the judge spoke, he was not captured on camera. It's like the cameraman only had one camera working, and it was only focused to whoever was making the argument. And I was like, okay, this is interesting.
A lot of things just went wrong there.
Even the audio.
The audio and everything just went wrong.
I was like, okay. Maybe they're having a bad day. Asas. Okay.
But have you noticed the bad days wasn't in line with when the defense is gonna come kicking?
Nah. So Sibanda was, of course, opposing the application, and where it started recording for me, or where I caught it, he was saying that a system where an accused person is shown every interior of information that might be useful to his defense and discovery in criminal cases must always be compromised. You know, in my opinion, he spoke as if this is an incident that took place only a couple of months ago, and then now they are on trial. Like how he was putting it, that's my opinion. It was like it's not something that happened 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. So State versus Sheikh 2007 is one of the court the cases that he quoted. He said it's about fairness. He said, fairness is not a one-way street conferring an unlimited right to an accused to demand the most favorable possible treatment, but also requires fairness to the public as represented by the state.
Okay, let me just submit before.
Help us out.
It skips my mind. So in his argument, he's saying there is no fairness in this accused asking for the teeth, or for his teeth to be checked if he had a gold tooth at some point.
Yeah.
Yet it is fair for him to go and zoom and find a gold tooth. So it is fair for him to do that and come to court, and he submits with evidence of pictures. It is fair for him to do that, but it is not fair for him to be rebutted using science,
using
facts,
evidence.
It's not fair.
And another thing also, it's like he's saying that accused number 3 is demanding preferential treatment. That's how he's putting it, conferring an unlimited right to an accused to demand the most favorable possible treatment. And I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, my God. Wow. How is this preferential treatment? He's putting himself in the firing line. For all we know, he could have had a gold tooth, right? He's giving himself away. And Sibanda is interpreting it as preferential treatment or favorable possible treatment. That was like, okay, fine. And he said that this does not mean that the accused's rights should be subordinated to the public's interest in the protection or suppression of crime. However, the purpose of fair trial provision is not to make it impracticable to conduct preservation. He also quoted Section 166, subsection 1 of the Criminal Procedure Act, the right of the accused to cross-examine any witnesses called on behalf of the prosecution at the criminal proceedings. Sibanda said cross-examination is one of the essential components of the adversarial system of the procedure.
So what do you have to do? Here's Emily, zoomed with a gold tooth. I must cross-examine and say, what, is that a gold tooth? How do you know that's a gold tooth? Stuff like that.
Yes.
How am I gonna change your mind if you believe that this is a gold tooth that you saw in the picture and you even zoomed and there's something goldish there? How am I gonna? Jesus.
I remember the testimony when Sergeant Mabasa was testifying. At some point he said at the top right corner there, what do you see? And he said, I see something goldish.
How?
Little did we know that the pictures are actually zoomed. They are zoomed in, they're zoomed. Zoom. A gold tooth is not hard to find on a picture when you're looking at it like this. The fact that they had to zoom, it's very interesting. I'm really curious. I want to see that picture. I want to see it.
In all honesty, Now they are saying you must cross-examine the blood out of the person who has already seen the gold tooth through Zoom and is the one who was zooming.
Now I'm curious. I really want to see that picture. I want to see if I
The only thing that can help you is someone
I zoom
testing.
it, will I find the gold tooth that I cannot see at first glance of looking at it?
Something
I'm
goldish.
very
How are you
interested.
gonna cross-examine for something goldish? What are you gonna say? Are you sure? Are your eyes fine? You're gonna say what the judge is saying.
Yes.
The judge has already asked those questions.
Yes, they've been
And
ventilated
you know why they were
already.
ventilated? It's just so that they to say that this person does not have a sight issue.
But
He
they
saw what he
zoomed.
saw. He
They
zoomed and
didn't
he saw
zoom
what
with
he
their
saw.
naked eye. They zoomed with a computer. But they zoomed with
Almost
the
one.
computer.
It's like
Not
those-
with their naked eye.
You know what's like? Almost one of there are those people. They hit you and then they choose how you hit them back. Good eye, man. Ungasishaya kakhulu. Ungasishaya kakhulu manje. There's no fairness.
Well, he said that cross-examination is one of the essential components of the adversarial system of procedure. The purpose of cross-examination is to elicit evidence favorable to the party. Cross-examination or to challenge the truth or
How would you have
accuracy of
done that?
evidence given by the opposing
You
party.
have done that.
And I don't understand why he's speaking of cross-examination and defining cross-examination. Their job is to examine this particular
No,
witness.
he's literally saying is in his argument is saying "Kushapile kampama." I'm just gonna decide how you do it. Cross-examine when. Cross-examine the blood out of this person until he changes his mind and says, I didn't see a gold. But the court has already heard you saying you saw the gold.
Yeah, and also a question I have, isn't that what the defense is currently doing, even with asking for this test to be done? It's a part of cross-examination, is it not? Why are you trying to stop them? It is. Because they cannot waste their time while their client keeps saying and insisting that I didn't have a gold tooth, and then you go on a time-wasting exercise to try and...
You don't know how it pisses me off when they are telling their story. Because you can even tell the judge is not interested. What the judge wanted to hear, he has heard it,
He
it's
has
done.
heard it.
He wrote it down.
Yes.
And then when are you going to come and say, yeah, what you are seeing there is a shiny, maybe he didn't brush his teeth.
Oh, God.
Is that what you're going to depend on?
Well, Sibanda said that no version has been put to Sergeant Mapasa as to whether accused number 3 had a gold tooth or not. Such a proposition should not depend on whether he has been examined by dentist first. If accused number 3 disputes that the photo in question depicts orthodontic work or gold tooth, he can put that proposition to Sergeant Mapasa. Why? Why? Where he can prove that he didn't have a gold tooth. You are the one refusing to listen to him when he said, I don't have a gold tooth. I never had a gold tooth. So now he's trying to prove that he never had a gold tooth because you won't listen to him. So what's the point of him continuing forth and putting it to Sergeant Mapasa, knowing very well that it's a waste of time? Sibanda then said that the defense has not laid a basis for their application. He said that Sergeant Mabasa is an analyst who analyzes information he obtains. He said that if he disputes Sergeant Mabasa's observation, then he can put it to him. Sergeant Mabasa is not an identifying witness. He's merely testifying about his mere observation. Mere observation. Doesn't this sound like a waste of time? So you're going to get people to testify on mere observations.
Create circumstantial evidence, and then they leave. They leave a dent, and then they leave. And you expect, what do you expect? Uzo ruler for you. Mauto and Africa, Jabadi, thank you. Our member, thank you very much.
Thank you
God
so
bless you.
much. So,
You know, I'm not the one to question people, but there is a certain level that you reach in life. more so when it comes to education, where you can wing it, you know. At some point, education teaches you how to wing it. There's an honors level, then you go further to masters. You know, you can hear the argument of a master's student. And then you go further to your PhD and whatnot. I did expect Usibandala would excel. You know, even though it was not the favorable state to be at, because it's like you are caught with your pants down. But, however, you still expect a PhD candidate to excel in terms of argument and how he collects whatever that he can collect. Ukfela uzama. You know, have you watched about advocates Kakan?
Yes, I have.
Even when they fail, now you feel inside
they put up a
good
fight.
no man. And sometimes you even feel good I ufailile because umuntu. I mean, a judge, no, now I'm a judge are just people. Some of them, they have arrogance. Honestly speaking, he had points. But as a person who's not involved and not biased, you feel like, oh, this guy really had points, proper points. And the examples that he was giving, sweet, proper. But he failed because for whatever reason, these are people, and some of them, they don't like him. The way he argues. Some of them, they don't like what he stands for. You can, you know, but you feel this person argued.
They put up a fight.
And then, now we're talking about an advocate, right? A mere advocate, seasoned advocate. And you compare that to a PhD candidate.
He's not even a candidate anymore. He obtained
yes. Who someone else is taught by experience.
Yes.
The other one is gaining experience. On top of that, some of the things are fast forwarded for you to reach that level. So when you argue, for example, take this other guy. I'm sorry for call him a boy. This other guy, he looks younger. That's why I call him a boy.
Which one?
Who normally goes with Advocate Dalimpov.
The one who's representing Thabo Bester now.
Yes. When you hear that guy arguing, you listen.
Yes.
You listen.
Yes.
Whether he's in the wrong side or on the right side, you listen. That's how he... Is he the one who won Thabo Bester, this computer thing?
Yes.
Do you see? I'm going to leave it there. Yabo. Omunye nomunye na uzofika. But nje, hey.
Advocate Lerato Muela. Yes,
I think they are, if you look,
Lerato Muela, Advocate Lerato Muela. He's quite young, but let me tell you, he puts up a fight.
I can bet you is in the same ages with Bosibanda or even younger.
Yeah, he is. But he puts up a fight, and that's what you want to see, honestly, from your lawyer or a lawyer or someone who claims to be representing you. See them like argue, and not be reading. There's like he's not even making eye contact. He's not doing that thing, and I'm wondering myself, oh my God, you reach PhD level. That performative thing of arguing, it is an essential ingredient.
Because that's what you do.
It's a muscle.
With your thesis, that's what you do. We are defending it. The question is, how did you defend it? You know, those are things. And we're talking about law. You expect that defending to be robust.
Exactly. And I'm like, oh my God, what is it going on? That's what is normal.
I normally don't go, but
we are jealous.
I'm not a law student, but I was gonna put a fight nyana.
But you argue, you argue, you know? And he said that in criminal proceedings, the right to give and challenge evidence is a fundamental principle to a fair trial. It means that an accused has a right to present to their own evidence and the right to question evidence, right to present his own version of events through cross-examination. Even if you've written it down, there's a way you present it, you understand?
You mustn't. Rule number one: when you are conveying a message to someone, you need to now and then keep an eye contact. It's like
yes.
You can't be just burying your head down,
reading. Yo, I was like, yo. I don't know why, but for silly me for expecting too much. Well, he said that is our submission. And Advocate Missy can proceed to put question to Sergeant Mabasa on the strength that accused number 3 never had a gold tooth. That fact falls within the knowledge of accused number 3. He does not have to be assisted by a dentist to help make up his mind. Hey, Batung. And this line absolutely killed me. It absolutely killed me. He spoke like they put it to accused number 3 before that he had a gold tooth and then he denied it, but now he's denying it again. That's how this is sounding. It's like, okay, in the pre-trial conference you presented evidence that he had a gold tooth and then you presented it again in the main case. That you are not speaking as if this is just new evidence that you just squished it in. And then he said he can put it as a fact that at a later stage it can be supported by a dental examination. Well, Sibanda said Sergeant Mabasa is testifying based on his observations.
You know why Bosbanda was submitting these weak arguments?
Why?
When he says at a later stage. I guess that's how this case has been run. The trial within a trial. They never really convinced that judge. He said, I'm allowing it, right?
Yes.
And then it's like a proxy that is hanging over these people's heads.
Yes.
Okay. Now you've been winning everything like that. You know? Now they were just, okay, just do it at the end of the case. Which will have no value at the end of the case. It's fine. The damage would have been done. Whatever that the judge needed to write would have written that. That's it.
It explains even the laziness of preparation for arguments. It's giving a spirit of, I'm just doing it because it's something I need to do and get it
Even Baloy, I can tell you now, I have listened to Baloy. Forget the nice English and the face. Obviously, he knows how to present himself. Forget that. If you listen to Baloy's arguments every time, I think out of the things that they were arguing about, I would have given him 10% of it.
Not 10%.
I'm telling you, because you listen to it, you like, sometimes when a judge says, I'm overruling in favor of the state, you're like, but what was presented here except what you added as a judge?
That's why he comes with books himself and he supports what he's ruling.
Yeah, serious. Like you listen, if you listen, I wanna people who were saying this is not a good lawyer, those ones, but the faces and all that. But this is not a good lawyer. This is a good lawyer, fit.
Yeah.
You listen to Ms. That's what you want from a lawyer.
Yes.
Not the English of how he's got the proper English. It's okay, it's fine, it's normal, it's not the best, but it's good. It shows that he reads.
It's a proper English.
But when he argues, when you listen,
passion,
you can feel it.
You feel it.
Look at when the judge ruled in favor of. Look at when the judge ruled in favor of Nis. We didn't have to wait for an hour or 3 hours of him giving us a speech and telling us the cases and whatnot.
Which came as a surprise to me.
It is quicker. Now, compare that to when he has to rule in favor of
the
Baloyi.
state. He has to read a whole
He has to
hour.
support everything.
He needs to quote everything he can.
And
To
then
say, you know what, it's not my fault.
You listen to the cases that Baloyi gives. He normally does not dwell on them. He just comes with completely new cases.
Yeah.
It's like this is what you were supposed to.
Yes, he's like giving him a memo that this is actually what you were supposed to put in your arguments. And
And
here I
you
am
hear
putting it in the
later
judgment.
you hear later on Baloyi standing on that.
Like
Now
Rob
and
has Rob versus Hepworth. It has been hampered on.
If every time Rob versus Hepworth has been said in that court, I was earning $1 or maybe $1,000, I'll be rich by now.
We'd be rich. We'd be rich. R versus Hepworth. Hey. Hi, Zavelelo. Well, Sibanda said that Sergeant Mabasa is testifying merely based on his observations. There's nothing stopping the defense to challenge Sergeant Mabasa regarding his observations. He brought up Mangena's evidence where the defense brought in their own expert to challenge Mangena's evidence, and he said there's nothing wrong with that. He said in this instance that accused person wants to be examined to challenge the evidence of Sergeant Mabasa, which was the source of his observation. He looked at the photo and he placed on record what he has observed. It would have been a difference altogether if accused number 3 wanted to implore the services of another analyst with the same qualification as Sergeant Mabera. Imagine that time-wasting exercise to challenge whether the downloads and the photo that was beamed on the screen on the 12th of June is authentic or not. But for the defense...
So he's using the very same case of experts.
Yes.
People who went to school and studied versus this one now, which can be proven that there was a tooth here, there was an insertion of a gold tooth or not.
An observation.
And he wants now you to go and fetch another observer who's gonna come and say, I don't see a gold.
A time-wasting exercise. He's asking and pleading for more time to be
Anonymous
wasted.
there who's gonna say, I know I don't see a gold. I just see a guy who didn't brush his teeth.
Yes.
But there's a science way we can find out this thing.
That is much quicker.
And science is an art of precision and
accuracy.
And accuracy, as Mnisi said.
Yeah, Sibanda said that accused number 3's defense on this aspect is not dependent on the dentist report. Sibanda said it's not in the interest of justice to cross-examine Sergeant Mabasa after the examination by the dentist. He quoted R versus Hepworth Bandla, and he quoted somewhere
on what
else
basis?
Where the a criminal case is not a game. Blah 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 blah. He quoted that passage. I don't know the relevance, but he put it there. A criminal a game, whatever. So he quoted somewhere else where it stated that fairness is not a one-way street, conferring an unlimited right to an accused demanding the most favorable possible treatment. Fairness also requires fairness to the public, as presented by the state, must instill confidence in the criminal justice system with the public, including those who are victims of crime. Hey, the state in this department, icon. Pull up your socks. He said that Section 37(3)(a) of the Criminal Procedure Act is not applicable. It speaks to the taking of finger and body prints. Sibanda now said that Tabang Makeleni said that one of the intruders had a gold tooth, and Sibanda said that Brigadier Kininda was never challenged about the fact that accused number 3 never had a gold tooth. Hey, Brigadier Kininda ukulume into eningi. There's too much blah 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 blah. He's not a dentist either, so it's not a fact. He can put it on record, but that's just him, right?
Did he even say that?
I don't know. Even I don't care at this point because I'm like, why is this the center?
Question that would be very interesting because it's not done.
Okay.
Why would he go and check accused number 2 then for the gold tooth?
Yes, if he was convinced that accused number 3 is the one who had a gold tooth, why did he go and check accused number 2? That is a very good question, Mr. Anonymous. Okay, so the state was done. The judge asked Sibanda about the process of them discovering these photos, and Sibanda said that they sat with the IO and Mabasa to go through these photos. It was a tedious process. It was a very tedious process, my lord. A tedious process, a very exhausting process. He said that they were visible to the naked eye, but by zooming in and zooming out, and I was like, yo. If they were visible to the naked eye, why are you presenting zooming in and zooming out? Like, there's no need. Nisi then said that the state did not address the point of the accused not having adequate time, opportunity, and facility to prepare his defense in order to challenge the state's case. The state also did not address the aspect of prejudice. Another point is that was being raised by the state is that now he cross-examined Makelele and put it to them that accused number 3 had a golden tooth. It's mistaken. He did not cross-examine Makelele. Makelele is one of the witnesses that is said to have been deceased. The one who testified. Ramasipeli said that the metadata can be edited and tampered with, and Mabasa made that concession. Yes, it can be edited, and he did make that concession, yes. So the judge asked that if they will be having recess, and Ramasipeli said that he needed to service his other clients. His practice is collapsing. I wish he didn't use words like this, you know. For me, I'm like, yo, don't be determining such doom and gloom. It's going through a challenging time with your absence. Or to say that it's collapsing, it's not a nice thing. Msholola also said that she had already committed to other cases as well for recess.
Good answer. And
Mnisi said that he needs to rest after going through 40,000 pages. He had not rested, so he wants to rest. And after a whole day of heads of arguments, the judge ruled in favor of the defense and granted accused number 3 an opportunity to be examined by a dentist. So Mnisi was now saying that there are dentists that work with the district surgeon that accused number 3 can go
after all this work, Mnisi.
After
all this work, you really want to go there. But I would forgive you because you said you are tired. Yay! After nice
work. Working so hard.
You wanna have a situation of who's this Mabena? You wanna have a situation of Mabena.
What did Mabena do?
Is it Mabena, the ballistic expert?
Mangen.
So now you.
So thank goodness for accused number 3 because he called him to order and said no.
Not when we said 2 people, at least the other one, and after all this, you really.
As he accused number 3.
I can imagine in the morning, I reported my loss.
Accused number 3 has lost confidence in the state machineries.
And my lord, my lord, I managed to get the report of the accused number 3. If we may submit.
And then Bese Ibuya Iti, he had a gold tooth. Bese Nitin. Bese he had a gold tooth.
It's actually a good thing that number 3 put it like that. Even it was a wise thing to do, to even say that he has lost confidence in the state.
In state machinery.
It's sort of affirms what accused number 1 and number 2 have been crying foul play. It's a good thing. Let's press that like button, guys. Let's reach that 200 and something. For now, it's 388 people here. Let's push for the likes, guys, please. Yeah, but it's a good thing to not trust the people that you are against to give you the answers that will favor you. Because, I mean, honestly speaking, why would you trust them now?
After all of this, after they kept you in solitary confinement for years, why? Why would you trust them? So a private doctor it is.
He was tired. He was tired.
Ways
he was not teasing them. Yeah, that doing almost the judge was so you're gonna use
the state, the district surgeon.
Once you hear
the district there's a dentist. They work with a couple of dentists there.
Once you hear that question from the judge, just choose the opposite.
Private doctor assembly, private dentist. If they can preferably be of the other color.
Yes. Yes.
Makunje kudingakala laba.
Yeah. Abadingakala laba.
No offense.
Laba bethu cha hayi kabi.
No offense.
Mabe khona odokotela.
Siyazi ukuthi you are good at what you do.
We know you guys are good at what you are doing. But as we say, I get more excited if I'm stopped by the cop of this along the way. I'm comfortable, I'm happy. As long as I know my disc is fine and everything is fine, I'm driving a proper car, I'm fine.
And you haven't done
but
anything wrong.
But if you are stopped by these ones of ours, I will keep a drink.
Cold drink, even if you did nothing wrong. Cold drink. You know what drama? You know what?
Hey, chief. Hey, I could drink. So you stop me on the road while you see the car is fine. You stop me, and then just to ask for a cold drink. Hey, how you know me? You know me. Should mind you, ngoba nginikeza le cold drink sengenzela ngelinye ilanga mhlazana ngidrive imoto ene light eliyi-1. No, I've got nothing against them. I just know that sometimes if you want your things to be accepted in these courts, use them. Unfortunately, you have to use them.
Yeah, and looking at how one can only wonder how many judges are like Judge Ratam Khwatleng, where they don't like black lawyers.
They don't like black lawyers. Yeah,
how many? I'm just wondering. It's a question that I'm wondering.
Like, you use Rata and then you say you don't like black lawyers.
Okay, Gonje, he apologized. Let's move on. My apologies. I withdraw my statement. But the point I'm trying to make is that when kushubile kanje, it's best to get the ones that are
like the ballistic guy is not. Yeah, I get you.
Makushubile ngampela yabo. Like
and uyamuzwa lo ballistic guy uthakazile ukuzodlala uzosinza amahlezi uzoshaya into yakhe aphume kanje.
Ngoba abethu basebenza kanzima.
Abethu bayatholakala wena mfethu ngale ngasese. That's all we can say. Yabo, and nabo you can't blame them. Some of them go say ami abebesabela imndeni yami. Yabo. And lazy akulula ukuthi ufike kuzo ngoba izokuexpose lezi and makuzokuexpose nginyakaza umhlaba wonke yabo. So yeah. That's all we can say.
Guys, that's it from me. Now I'm ripped.
Yeah. Amen.
Tomorrow it is. We've got an appointment at the Pretoria High Court.
Yeah, we will be there. If you want to meet us, we'll be there. Outside. I'm tired of this volume of SAPC. I'm going to put them Mzansi mic there. If you see Mzansi mic there, you must know we are there.
Hi guys, we're joking. We're not at that level yet, but yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna put them.
It doesn't kill to dream.
Yeah, but just outside the issues that we were talking about. You know, I was watching the game of Madrid and Al Ahl. I think it's Al Ahl from that side of thingy. They played a draw. I was watching it on this channel. What is it called? Sporty.
It's a
Sport
YouTube
something. It's a YouTube channel. That channel is good. You know, if they can add all these other games like La Liga and all that, I'm done with DSTV.
Yo.
How about if I'm serious? How about DSTV? Ne? I'm paying 1,000 for nothing.
But
Because-
I complain about the banning in TSTV.
Because right now,
It's a lot of.
I'm not
garbage.
watching that thing. I'm sure they're not even televising these games, the Club World Cup games.
They're not.
I'm not sure. That's how I'm not clued up with them. That I go to my TV. I don't even go to their app. I go straight to YouTube because I knew this channel is gonna be. Is it Sporty something? Spotify? Is it something like that?
Or Sporty S or something
Yeah,
like that. I forgot the name.
It's very good.
And also I saw a clip that kind of went viral on Sunday. There is a professor who was invited to speak on this national dialogue that the president is saying he's going to do. And obviously a huge majority of South Africans don't agree with that much money being spent just to listen to people talk when we've got so many things going on. And then they get this professor from another country who's working at our university to come and comment on behalf of spending that money for this thing.
Where is he from? From Zimbabwe?
I think he's from Zimbabwe, but I'm not sure. And I was like, yo, Kuri, it's like these news networks literally, they just wanna aggravate and make people angry. It's like rage baiting at another level.
You know what? Me now tell you something that is not gonna sound well with some of our people, because we are international also.
Yes.
We have people.
We
from
know
other
we
countries.
have people from.
I'm gonna
Zimbabwe.
say this, and I'm not gonna put an argument that much. Why we are not one as Africans? We can never be one as Africans, because when people who are doing, for example, wrong things in South Africa, they do them, and guess who supports them? It's other African countries.
Yeah.
They come with their education and support that nonsense. Without reading the room of other Africans.
That you've found.
So we will never get along, because all the time we have that thing, Yoguti,
feeling
these
is
ones
that-
of ours, if they are doing something wrong, they know they are doing something. That's why they're not going to
Yes.
bring a professor from here.
Yes, because he's gonna tell them
who
that it's
sees what is
absolutely
happening.
trash. Yes.
They're going to bring a professor from Ghana.
Yes.
Uzibuza ukuthi, how did television channel move from, when did they actually acquire this professor to come in, and when did this professor get time to
Because
assess what
he's
is
willing
happening?
to say what they want to hear. That's the thing.
In the name of I'm a professor.
Yeah.
This is why we'll never get along. Yeah, bo? And that's exactly why, in fact, we don't get along, because even here in this country, our African brothers and sisters are used
Yeah, they're used against us.
to make us angry and angry. Like, basically, they accept what they are given.
Yes, and they are in a position where they are surviving, right? And there are powers that actually take advantage of that desperation.
Exactly.
And that is why we have the problems that we have.
The day we have, and I can tell you, we find that I do watch other channels from other African countries. There are people who have a proper view, who are sober.
Kenya.
You can never hear a person coming from Kenya, for example, being called on this TV to come and say, professor from Kenya, who's this guy, Lubumba?
Yes, Lubumba.
They can never bring someone
no,
like that.
because he's going to tell them the
Because
truth.
he's aware.
He's going to tell them
they
the truth.
never bring someone like that. But they're going to come with a professor that you don't know who's coming from the University of Cairo or somewhere, you know. And then they say, yeah, this person is saying this is going to be good. And
to put a stamp on
that's
something
why
that
we don't get along.
we don't want.